全世界，
我是郑弘仪。
嘿，和你做伙来开讲。
大家好，大家好，大家安安，我是郑弘仪，欢迎收听今天的报道全世界哈今天我们非常难得的邀请到美国在台协会这个台北办事处的前处长是司徒文先生哈，这个处长好，
你好。
OK， 那美国在台协会台北办事处的处长，其实等同于美国派驻在台湾的大使那么他这个司徒文先生现在其实也是国立阳明大学的副校长那今天非常欢迎他来。那他会讲中文可是呢，他为了表示非常的严谨，所以呢，我们今天特别也邀请了一位这个翻译那这位翻译呢是自我介绍。
大家好，我是安安。
你的节目上不讲全名的吗？
不。
好，安安其实是我们这个宝岛联播网这个晚9点到晚上10点每天礼拜一到礼拜五宝岛夜春风的主持人，他跟嘉泽一起主持然后他是台大毕业以后伦敦政经学院经济史研究所的硕士学位这样所以他英文程度非常好，今天就拜托你了。OK 好，那这个先请司徒文先生其实他的名字大家叫他 Bill right
Yeah
OK Bill
对了
对的这个第一个问题先请教你，因为这个美国的疫情，想问你就是美国为什么会这么严重
？Why is the virus so severe in America? Is that the question?
Yes.
I think, unfortunately, my impression is that I've done a lot of reading about this. I'm not in the States. I haven't been back in quite a while. But unlike Taiwan, which was prepared for the virus because of its previous experience with SARS, and also because it acted so quickly in response to the threat. Even in December, it began to hold off flights and finally canceled them from Wuhan, was inspecting people who came in. Taiwan correctly acted quickly and effectively to stop the virus. Unfortunately, in Washington, I think there was too much of an effort to dismiss the threat and not to act quickly. And it didn't help that I think some of the organizations who in previous administrations had been responsible for fighting pandemics, they had been disbanded.
他说就是在台湾之前有 SARS 的经验，所以我们的政府可以非常快然后有效率的做出相应的措施，而且在最开始的时候就开始做防疫的这些行政措施。但是在美国就是有很多方的压力，所以没有办法那么像台湾一样那么快的就是开始防疫。
I would say also that Taiwan has really been a model for the world of handling a crisis like this. And frankly, I was relieved to know I was in Taiwan because I can't think of a better country to face this worldwide pandemic than in Taiwan. Taiwan's the best place to be, I think.
他觉得台湾是世界的典范。那在这个防疫的部分呢，真的就是他认为世界上没有其他国家可以做得比台湾更好了。
I also think that China bears a heavy burden of responsibility because despite the denials, there's some evidence actually that the virus began to appear even in as early as November. But certainly in December when the famous Dr. Lee was pointing out that there was a virus afoot and he was told to shut up, and then eventually, unfortunately, died, I think there was an effort to cover up the threat, the seriousness of the threat. And meanwhile, millions of people in Wuhan fled the city and went to other countries where they infected other people. So I think a great responsibility falls on China's shoulders for the worldwide spread of this virus.
就是中国从一开始的不承认，那他们的医生在11月的时候，其实就已经有发出一些警讯，可是就是中国政府都不愿意承认，而且叫他闭嘴。然后到12月的时候也还是一样。那很不幸的那位医生后来也因为就是工作的关系就去世了嘛。然后再加上武汉的居民有很多就是因为恐惧的关系，所以他们就逃到其他的城市去，甚至是国外。然后所以造成了就是世界大流行。那中国必须负非常大的责任。
那可是中国指控的是美国隐瞒，是美军把病毒带到中国去的。
Yeah, I found this one of the most disturbing things about the Chinese approach. To say that the American military had carried the virus, it's just an outrageous lie. But as we all know, the big lie is often more effective than little lies. And they've continued to promote that, as you probably know. It's been disputed by Secretary of State Pompeo, by President Trump. But there's just no reason to think that. And there's no evidence of that. And it's just false. All the evidence is one way or another. It probably came from the wet market, directly or indirectly, in Wuhan. And, it's fortunate that China's now closed the wet markets and the sale of wild animals. But they did that also after SARS, and then eventually they relented and they began selling wild animals again. So I think China bears the responsibility for that practice.
中国政府就是必须要负非常大的责任，就是他虽然说指控就是美方把这个病毒传染出来，然后就是对美国政府来说就是也是很头痛的一件事情。那川普总统就是也公开发表过很多次声明说就是这不是真的，那认为说是从中国的市场就是还有武汉那个地方，不管是直接接触或者是间接的接触的方式，然后将这个病毒传到世界去。
那全世界可以怎么样追究中国的责任
？Well, I think that countries around the world should make those views clear. For example, in Italy, Italy is expressing appreciation for Chinese support. But if it weren't for the hundreds of thousands of Chinese already in Italy, particularly in the north, working in the garment industry and in other industries, and the fact that, according to some reports, they invited their relatives from China, from Wuzhou and from Wuhan, other places, to come is why, it's now, I think, number 2 in the world for the number of people who have been infected. So I think, I hope this is a turning point in world affairs where people begin to adopt a more frank, a more forthright attitude toward China and speak the truth as they see it. I certainly hope it's a turning point for the U.S. because for too long, whether academics or investment bankers have seen it in their interest to promote China for something that it is not, and have not paid attention to the risks of their investments in China, of putting all their supply chains in China, of always carrying the Chinese message. I think it's time for that to stop. We need to have a much more realistic, a much more frank and honest dialogue about what China is and what it is not.
他觉得就是世界各国就是必须很诚实，然后很坦然的去面对，就是这个事件就是给各国所带来的一个 算是转折点。像他举例说，意大利那个地方就是有接受了非常大量的中国来的不管是投资或者是移民，甚至于在现在就是仍然有非常多的就是中国人在意大利邀请他们的亲戚到那个地方去，然后就是让意大利的疫情更加爆发。那他觉得说，就是这次的疫情对于美国来说也是一个很重要的转折点，因为不管是在学术上或者是在投资界，其实大家对于就是中国所带来的利益就是都非常的就是想要拿到这个利益。可是就是当就是面对就是中国在各个就是这种事关生命的这些问题上就是那么的掩盖的时候，其实各国都必须要更加坦然，然后就是扒开那个假象，然后去看中国的真面目。
I think it's no accident that the countries that have been closest to China have the most cases of the flu. Italy was, I think, the first European country to join the One Belt, One Road system, has been the recipient of huge amounts of Chinese investment and trade. It's also been the source of a lot of Chinese knockoffs saying made in Italy, but selling overseas. I know because a relative, unfortunately, ordered online a Gucci bag, which looked like the real thing, made in Italy, and got it on a website, and it was made in China. Was able to buy it for $300 or $400. So, this kind of trade has been going on, and nobody's paid attention to it. Another country heavily dependent on China is, of course, Iran. Why? Because China for years has been supporting the proliferation programs in Iran, whether missiles or nuclear programs, and they are also suffering as a result of that. And of course, there are so many Chinese who do business in the United States, have families in the United States. So America is now bearing the brunt of that, particularly Seattle, which is where, Seattle and San Francisco, Silicon Valley cities, New York City, the business capital. So people, need to draw lines between these dots and make the connections about why is it that some places are hurt worse than others.
他有讲到说，就是现在各国疫情爆发的状况其实不太一样嘛，那就是大家可以去想想看，为什么有些国家比较严重。譬如说刚刚所提到的意大利，它应该是就是目前最早就是参与中国一带一路就是这个政策的，那它从中国得到了非常多的那个投资，然后还有贸易，然后也有非常多的中国人或者是中国的工厂在那边设厂，然后做出就是那种名牌货，可是其实是假的，然后在网络上大卖这样子。但是世界上没有任何相关的单位就是去注重这件事情。那他也有提到伊朗的部分，就是伊朗疫情也非常的严重，然后像是因为中国就是也大量的投资许多的就是核子武器啊什么的，就是帮助他们。然后还有在芝加哥跟西雅图两个地方也是一样，有非常多的中国移民到那个地方，然后影响到就是当地的话语权。
I would just add also that Taiwan is an exception because, of course, there's a lot of interaction between Taiwan and China. But well before the World Health Organization called it a pandemic, well before, in fact, when they were still recommending that there was no reason to shut down flights from China, there was no reason to block Chinese citizens from entering countries. Taiwan was already taking steps in those directions, and Taiwan was right.
然后相比于刚刚讲到的国家，台湾其实一直都在做正确的事情，那就是包含就是关闭班机啊，然后或者是有更强的就是防疫的这个部分。
我们现在呢这个专访的呢是美国在台协会前台北办事处的处长司徒文先生大家称呼他 Bill。那 Bill 现在在国立阳明大学担任副校长，他在美国驻台湾 这个当大使的期间呢，对台湾帮忙很多比方说我们赴美免签证就是他在任内完成的。那另外就是他是历任大使里面这个美国捐授给台湾金额最高的然后而且他也促成了这个美国资深的官员来到台湾那这个有很多的这个绩效了那他呢曾经派驻在澳洲担任大使馆的副馆长，也曾经派驻在驻韩国大使馆的副馆长他是1947年出生，那么他现在国籍依然是美国籍，不过他有我们中华民国的永久居留权欢迎你就有这个这个加入我们的国籍了OK， 好，那这个其实武汉肺炎这个疫情应该会非常严重的影响着全世界的变动那所以世界上对中国这一次有什么样的重新的看法或者调整或者是觉醒等一下继续请教这个 Bill。然后美国跟中国之间的争端其实包括贸易的争端，包括这一次的武汉肺炎的争端，包括很多地缘战略利益的争端。那么他好像要挑战美国当世界的老大，到最后他会怎么演变那司徒文先生为什么会在大使卸任之后留下来在台湾等一下继续请教他来，我们先休息进广告。
报道全世界，郑鸿仪和你做伙来开讲。
好欢迎继续收听报道全世界。好，我是郑鸿仪。我们今天邀请到美国在台协会前台北办事处的处长司徒文先生司徒文先生的英文其实是 William A Stanton。
Yeah, A sure, Anthony
OK。他这个太太呢是曾经任东帝汶的大使OK 然后他也曾经派驻在中国的大使馆。
以前的太太
以前的太太OK 然后也派驻过巴基斯坦跟黎巴嫩，同时也在国务院的埃及北非事务处担任处长美国的外交部就对了。然后也曾经在联合国担任政治办公室的主任在外交的资历也非常的丰富跟完整。再请教你，就是这个美国的疫情的这个高峰到了吗
？The peak of the disease. Is it?
武汉neumonia.
我不是专家I'm not an expert on this issue, but President Tsai has announced that she thinks the next 2 weeks are a critical stage because there have been quite a few Taiwanese returning to Taiwan from overseas, and there are some instances already of the virus returning. I'm concerned about it, if only because Taiwan's record up to now is so good. In a way, you look at it disbelief when you look at what's happening in America, in Europe. So I hope that's the case, but I note that I've heard from a former colleague at the National Taiwan University that they're already doing their classes online, and I've got to train this week and next week. I won't have a class because of Children's Day, but I've got to learn how to teach online. I'm not that adept on computers because we're going to start teaching our classes online. So I think this is another precaution by our President Guo, who was very knowledgeable as in public health and a medical doctor as well. So I think because people in Taiwan, just as I was coming here by taxi, I saw a schoolyard full of children, 学校的孩子 running around the courtyard, playing games. Some of them had masks, some of them didn't, but a very relaxed attitude. Mm-hmm. And so this worries me. And so lately I've become a little bit more concerned that maybe, Taiwan might have a difficult period ahead. I hope not. I hope this is just a little blip and we get by it. But I'm not expert enough to really offer opinion. I just think that Taiwan has, of all the countries that I'm aware of, has handled this in the best manner possible. And I hope we'll get over it before long.
刚刚问到的是就是美国的部分，但是因为他说他现在不住在美国，但是他有提到台湾，他说蔡总统有提到接下来的2周在台湾可能是就是疫情最关键的时刻，因为有非常多的就是海外的学子或者是其他的侨民就是回到台湾，那他们身上不知道有没有就是潜伏的病毒这样子。那他有提到他自己的学校说就是目前不是说就是以前的同事有讲到说台湾大学现在已经开始做远距教学的部分了，那他自己就是在阳明的部分也要开始学习，就是下周可能会开始做远距教学。那他有说到说他观察到台湾很多学校的学生就是孩子们就是很开心的就是在操场上玩啊，或者在公园里玩，但是有些有戴口罩，有些没有戴口罩，那看起来是非常的轻松，然后又和乐这样子，没有担忧的感觉。可是就是司徒文就是刚刚有提到说他很担心这个有可能会成为台湾的一个隐忧，那也希望说台湾不会像其他国家一样就是爆发大的疫情。
司徒文的 William 他是美国 New Jersey 的出生1947年出生在 New Jersey。退休以后你为什么会留在台湾？
大家也问我这个问题，可是是很简单的，我喜欢台湾，我享受留在这里。I enjoy living here. I have friends here. When I retired from the Foreign Service, by then I'd already decided that, in a way, I would serve a more, my life would have more meaning if I remained in Taiwan. Because if I went back to Washington, there are a lot of retired diplomats. I would just be one more voice among many. But it's not that usual for, although there are a lot of Americans and other foreigners who correctly make the decision to stay in Taiwan because it's such a warm and welcoming place and has so many other advantages. I thought it would also give meaning to my life if in the coming years I would teach here and I could share with young people some of my experiences as a diplomat who's lived in many countries and be of use to them in giving them a different perspective. In particular, I've always noted that a lot of Taiwanese don't have sufficient confidence in Taiwan, which is one of the reasons that one of the first commentaries I wrote was last year. The first one, I guess, was called Learning to Appreciate a Modern Miracle, Taiwan, in which I talked about all of Taiwan's extraordinary achievements, including becoming a prosperous and democratic society in less than 4 decades. But then if you add into that the technological achievements, the academic achievements, the industrial achievements, the achievements people don't think about, but they take for granted how safe Taiwan is. The public health system here that's so excellent. The fact that in surveys of expatriates, every year Taiwan is listed as one of the, if not the top one, I think this past year it was the #1 country in the world that expats liked. The only downside of living in Taiwan was 如果你不会说中文是有一点困难. But all the other aspects of it, people really said it's a great place to raise children. It's such a safe place. There's low-level crime. Women are not harassed. it's a comfortable place to live. And, when I first came here, and I had an experience of what Taiwan used to be, which was Taiwan people have always been friendly and hospitable. But I remember when I was here to study Chinese for 10 months, 86, 87, there was a lot more pollution. There was no subway system. There was no high-speed rail system at the time. You couldn't buy any foreign products because you were still had an import substitution policy. There were no foreign restaurants, really. But people were great towards us, toward our young baby. Even when she was crying, they were always, expressing concern, interest. The people were always wonderful, but Taiwan was still developing. I remember once driving with somebody, one of my teachers, to what is now Shinichu, and much of it was just fields. There was an isolated building here and there, but mostly it was farmland. So the transformation of Taiwan has been so dramatic and so swift that I think young people in particular don't realize how far Taiwan came in such a short period of time. And I thought one role I could play is just to try to instill a greater sense of self-confidence in Taiwanese youth.
Mm-hmm. 不会很好。
他说刚的问题是说，就是为什么会选择留在台湾嘛？那就是他有提到说，他希望说他的生活可以就是他希望可以赋予更多的意义在他的人生当中。那有许多外交人员，美国的外交人员，就是通常退休后就会回到美国去，那可能就是做一些游说的工作啊之类的。但是他希望他可以就是对这个世界，或者是对他所热爱的台湾有更多的贡献。那他希望他可以就是在这边教学，然后分享他就是在过去的经验，就是外交的经验里面给台湾的年轻学子，然后可以提供我们就是更开阔的眼界这样。那他有提到说，他发现到台湾的人民或者是台湾的学生孩子，就是通常不具备有足够的自信。那但是其实台湾真的是一个就是很棒的地方。他有提到说，在亚洲地区，我们的民主其实进步的非常快。那在科技、学术、工业等等，就是各方面，其实我们都非常的棒。但是生活在这里的人民，好像就是把这个都视为理所当然一样，而不觉得那是值得骄傲的一个部分。那刚刚也有再度提到说，就是在我们的公共卫生的部分也做得非常的好。那在人民的部分，他觉得台湾的人就是一直都非常的友善而且好客。他在1986到1987的时候是待在台湾的嘛，那当时就有发现到台湾人民的这个性格。虽然说那时候就是整个台湾还没有发展起来，没有捷运，没有高速公路，然后买不到外国的货，可是就是他了解说那是就是国家发展的一个就是进程。那当时的信义区他说就是一片荒芜，就是什么都没有。但是他再度回到台湾的时候，他感觉到台湾真的是进步的非常的快，而且非常的很顺的就进入到就是那个发展的那个列车上。
10 months study
10 months, 86
Chinese
86年到87年一共10个月以后，我到中国到北京去。所以I was it wasn't enough time to study Chinese, but but I found that when I got to Beijing, my Chinese got worse because you couldn't. It was very difficult to make any friends in China. I mean,
why?
Well, you would never get asked out to dinner except formal events, and then they would always have an interpreter present. Meetings, even if you tried to speak in Chinese, they didn't want to bother with that. They would use an interpreter that was more formal, and that also gave them the opportunity, since many of their diplomats spoke English, they could say something in Chinese, then listen to the translation. If they didn't like it, they could correct it and say something different. So in a total of 6 years I was in Beijing, I can't say I ever made a friend, perhaps except for Fang Lijie when I was visiting him and his wife inside our embassy 4 days a week. I would go and for every 4 evenings, weekdays, and then every weekend, and take one afternoon to go and spend 2 hours or so with them, find out how they were doing. And so the most Chinese I spoke was with them, since or sometimes it was a polyglot. It was English and Chinese together. But here I have Taiwanese friends. People invite me out. It's just an easier atmosphere in which to make friends. And, if you're a diplomat in China, they consider you basically a spy. So, even though you really are a diplomat. So it was a more difficult situation.
OK， 好，这个我们现在访问的是司徒文先生啊，他是 Bill 啊，美国在台协会前办事处的处长。那他刚刚讲的那一段呢，我们再请这个安安等一下来翻译啊，因为我们必须要先进一段广告。那等一下回来呢，我们要请教他啊，美国会支持台湾独立吗？中国会打台湾吗？当中国打台湾的时候，美国会采取什么样的态度？等一下继续请教哈。来，我们先休息，进广告。
报道全世界，郑鸿仪和你做伙来开讲。
好欢迎继续收听报道全世界哈，我是郑鸿仪。我们今天邀请到美国在台协会台北办事处前任的处长司徒文，就是我们的所谓的 AIT 那也就是美国派驻在台湾的大使3年嘛
3年，
对对。那么在3年任内他促成了美国对台军售130亿美金这个有史以来最高。那么同时呢我们到美国已经就免签证了，在他的任内贡献非常的多。那么刚刚司徒文他说他有在中国有6年的经验，对不对然后他怎么说？
他说就是他先在台湾学习中文2年，那后来到北京去，可是其实在北京就是很难有机会让他练习中文，所以他的中文变得更烂了。然后也是因为环境的关系，就是大使馆就是因为他们的安全，所以不愿意让他们出去外面。那如果说所以他就不可能就是交到当地的朋友，那就算有任何的就是聚餐或者是晚宴，都是那种非常正式的就是外交场合的聚会。那他有提到说他唯一的经验就是讲到非常多的中文应该是在天安门事变之后，就是有方励之科学家就是投奔大使馆，那当时每个礼拜他都必须要去看望他们，然后了解他们的需求，然后以及就是为了他们后续前往国外做准备。那在台湾的话呢，他觉得说就是他因为比较简单的比较轻松的气氛，所以让他很容易可以就是交到台湾的朋友。那他也提到说当时他在美国的他在中国的状况，就是身为外交官很容易被人家当作是间谍
spy OK 那这个美国支持台湾独立吗？
Well, one answer is that Taiwan is already in effect independent. I mean, as I noted in your written question, I mean, it's got its own government, it's got its own military, it's got its own legal system, it's got its own legislature, it's got its own flag, even though some people want to change it. It's got its own social and cultural makeup, which is quite distinct from the mainland China that I knew. It's effectively, the problem is too few people give it that recognition. Now, whether it should make the change toward formal independence is a difficult situation, because since the 2005 anti-secession law by China, which in my view is a violation of the 3 communiques that they signed with the United States, there's been the threat of warfare if Taiwan should declare independence. Now, in my view, when we signed the 3 communiques, they were contingent on a peaceful settlement of any issues between China and Taiwan. They were also contingent on China's promise that big countries should not bully small countries. It was contingent on respecting the human rights of the Taiwan people. A lot of people should go back and read the 3 communiques and what U.S. had to say there. And it was always based on peaceful settlement, respect for the Taiwanese people's human rights. So as soon as the 2005 anti-secession law was passed, in my view, it tended to invalidate the 3 communiques, which China is always touting for its so-called one China policy. So I hope in the future there'll be a more enlightened view by China. Maybe it'll take a transformation of China itself. And certainly since Xi Jinping rose to power in 2012, it's become much more of a dictatorship, much more of an autocracy. And so it's unlikely. And he's put so much of his credibility on the line about the Chinese dream, and a part of that is incorporating Taiwan, even though historically Taiwan has never been a fully functioning part ever of China. I mean, for a brief period, there was administrative office under the Qing dynasty.
Qingchao.
Yeah, Qingchao. But it's its own country. You feel the difference as soon as you come here from China, or you go from here and you go to China. So, I have great hopes for Taiwan, and I hope that one day Taiwan will be a fully recognized independent country. But it's up to the Taiwanese people to decide when and how that should come about, because there's great risks involved, particularly if you're dealing with a country which, a country that despite its commitments, for example, we know has provided luxury goods plus proliferation supplies to North Korea and to Iran and earlier to Pakistan. I mean, it doesn't abide by its international commitments, never has. And so you've got to be careful about what they might or might not do. I certainly have always expressed the view and said it publicly that I would hope that if there were aggression against Taiwan, that the U.S. would respond in defense of Taiwan. But you never know. Governments change and, what the calculations would be. But I always have said that America couldn't stay America. That is, be true to its own principles if it allowed an attack against Taiwan to proceed without trying to help.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, long answer.
他认为说台湾就是其实在事实上已经是一个独立的国家了，不管是我们有自己的总统、自己的行政立法制度等等的，只是在社会跟文化面可能就是跟中国有比较相近一点，然后所以让台湾人民就是比较混淆，或者是没有重视到这件事情。那他有提到说2005年的时候中国有签订一个3项保证，还是
中国跟谁签？
美国。
哦，是2005年吗？
对 ，Yeah, 2005 I think it was 2005, the anti-secession law.
OK，
那它里面就是有讲到说，中国就是作为一个大国，就是不应该要欺负台湾啊，然后还有就是台湾的就是人权的部分，就是应该要受到保障。那后来就是习近平2012年的时候上任，那就是他就是非常的追求他的中国梦，然后很努力的扩张就是中国的势力，可是就是台湾其实就是从来就没有属于中国过。那最后就是台湾是否就是在什么样的时机独立，其实都应该要就是取决于台湾自己，但是台湾人民必须要知道说这其中有风险，这样子的决定就是有一定的风险存在的，因为就是中国就是向来在外交上就是他们不管是用武力或者是用金钱的方式去买他们的邦交国。那美国就是司徒文先生认为说美国最终应该还是会协助台湾，就是防御台湾的安全。那因为就是这个是跟美国就是独立建国之初就是他们的那个价值观是符合的。
那中国打台湾，美国会怎么协助？
I don't know.
You are ambassador.
Things change in America. It depends on who's going to be the president at that time, what the feelings are in Congress. In general, the one positive thing Taiwan should note is over the last, certainly it's been intensified since 2012 when Xi Jinping took power. But there's been an overall trend going back at least a year earlier in public opinion, which now is 60% unfavorable, according to the Pew survey, unfavorable perceptions of China. You also have an elite and opinion, people commenting in the news. You also have a Congress which has never been more supportive, although it's always been the most supportive branch of the American government, increasingly supportive of Taiwan. A lot of recent legislation. I hope that soon President Trump will pass the Taipei Act, which also calls for, people haven't focused on that, but calls for measures to review the kinds of limitations we currently impose on our relationship with Taiwan, and to do an annual report on that and what steps have been made to change those, including, whether diplomats can call directly on the State Department. In fact, Taiwan diplomats in many countries are allowed to call directly. A lot of the regulations were created by lawyers at the State Department and actually the National Security Council, self-imposed inhibitions on what we could do as an interpretation of the Taiwan Relations Act. But there's nothing in the Taiwan Relations Act that says we have to treat people disrespectfully. So I hope that the Taipei Act gets signed into law, and I hope the U.S. continues to make more changes. But as I've said, in my diplomatic career of 34 years and since I retired, the 7 years since then, I've never seen such a positive overall U.S. attitude towards Taiwan. And I think Taiwan's handling of the Wuhan coronavirus has only enhanced Taiwan's image, not only in the United States, but around the world. I've seen articles from France and other countries praising Taiwan's handling of this epidemic. So, and increasing calls for Taiwan to be admitted to the World Health Organization, where clearly the Director General of that organization takes all of his instructions, either implicitly or explicitly, from Beijing. And it's a sham. It's really tragic that this former Ethiopian health minister gets to make decisions that basically are just in serving Chinese interests and not global interests.
OK， 我们现在这个访问的呢是美国在台协会前台北办事处的处长司徒文先生。那我刚刚问他的问题就是中国打台湾的时候，美国会采取什么态度等一下回来他的这个回答，我们请翻译来翻译那还有一个就是他刚刚讲他说其实如果台湾独立是有风险的，台湾自己要去承担那中国真会打台湾吗？其实司徒文先生有一篇文章最近在网络上传得很多很广泛，你 do you know? Yeah, that Taiwanese have to have confidence. Yeah, 就是他一直希望台湾人要有自信台湾其实是一个了不起的国家等一下我们继续请假来，我们先休息一下进广告。
报道全世界，郑鸿仪和你做伙来开讲。
好欢迎继续收听波豆转世界，我是郑鸿仪我们今天邀请到这个美国在台协会台北办事处的前处长司徒文先生然后我们今天找到的翻译呢，邀请到的翻译是这个安安安安呢是台大毕业，伦敦政经学院的这个经济史的研究所的硕士，然后他也是我们波豆联播网的主持人他的节目是波豆亚春风每天礼拜一到礼拜五晚上9点到10点，安安跟林嘉哲主持的，对不对？好，那刚刚这个处长 请麻烦你翻译一下。
他刚刚有提到说，就是台湾的情势在2012年之后，其实就是变得比较紧张一点点。那他有做过，不是应该说就是政府有做过一些调查，就是60%的民众其实已经就是对中国的那个观感是很不好的，而且是呈负面的。那就是也蛮好的，就是说就是近期就是我们所通过的那个台北法案，就是应该是可以就是对整个台湾的局势就是可以让台湾更走上国际。那在他的这个34年的外交生涯当中，再加上在台湾的这7年里面，他觉得就是他所观察到美国对台湾的这种友好度与支持度，就是从来没有像现在那么没有像现在那么好过。那他也有提到说，世界国家不同的组织，像是那个世界卫生组织，就是其实必须要做好他们应该要做的，就是不要被收买了。因为我们知道就是 WHO 最近就是有一些因为背后的势力的关系，那他们应该要秉持着就是为了全球的利益而做，而不是为了某个国家的利益而做。
世界卫生组织的人有收钱呀
Did someone bribe the officer?
There was once somebody who I won't say who, but somebody I criticized in an article implicitly as being, in effect, just a voice box for Chinese government positions, who accused me of getting paid by the Taiwan government, which is just ludicrous. I work for a Taiwan National University, but nobody ever tells me what to say. And if they did, I just wouldn't say it. So, it's these are my own views that I've reached because of my experience both in China and in Taiwan. And I take pleasure in saying them, but I don't, because they are my views, but not because, I get paid to say them. In fact, sometimes my views have even been unpopular here in Taiwan. There are some people who haven't appreciated what I've had to say. But that doesn't bother me. In fact, I'd like to see more change. I would add, I've been very upset by China implicitly threatening, I think, to cut off the supply of medicines. I'd like to see an end to America having so many of its vital technology being produced in China. I'd like to see that economic dependency, technological dependency broken, because the Chinese have shown that they're willing, as they did when they cut off the supply of rare earth materials to Japan, they're willing to use whatever means are necessary to achieve their goals. I think the U.S. has become too economically dependent, and it doesn't need to be. China needs to trade with the U.S. because we're such a huge market for their products, but the United States doesn't need China. And, there are other places where goods can be produced cheaply, which are friendlier toward the United States and its policies.
刚刚提到就是那个世界卫生组织的部分，他有讲到说他曾经有同事是的确是为了中国而发声，那也但是他就是没有透露是谁。那以他的看法来说，他觉得就是作为一个不管是哪一国或者是哪一个组织的官员，都不应该就是为了任何的利益而发声。那他也有讲到他自己就是在台湾工作或者是在北京工作，他也都讲他认为他应该要讲的话语。那他有提到说，就算是在台湾，就是有些人也会不喜欢他所说的话，可是他不觉得那会困扰到他，因为那是他职责所在，他应该要做的事情。那有提到说，美国跟中国的关系，就是美国有非常多的，就是不管是经济或者是科技的那些很重要的科技，其实是在中国就是代工所生产的。那他其实蛮期待，就是期待嘛，蛮期待，就是如果说透过这一次的疫情的关系，各国的国家知道不可以那么的依赖中国，因为就是当他把有这些关键的技术的时候，其实他说他要关厂，或者是他说他要把你拿下，那他就是可以就直接把它拿走了。那 美国中国会无所不用其极的拿到就是他想要的东西。那以美国的角色来讲的话，他其实不需要那么的依赖中国，因为其实是中国需要美国。
了解。最后一个问题，中国打台湾的急迫性真的很强了吗？
China continues to bully Taiwan, and it continues to bully any country who does something China doesn't like. And it tries to bully, or at least bully some parts of the United States to get what it wants. I think that should stop. You don't win friends by being cruel to them, being harsh to them. I think that Taiwan should resist that, and Taiwan should take more be more active in promoting itself in the world, calling attention to its achievements, calling for support from other countries, not only the United States, but other friendly democracies around the world. So I don't know what China is going to do in the future, but I also think that Taiwan needs to strengthen its defenses to prepare for whatever may come. I've often said that. So, and beyond that, I think it's incumbent on all of us, friends of Taiwan as well as Taiwanese, to do everything they can to strengthen Taiwan.
OK，
美国就是一直在霸凌台湾，然后
中国在霸凌台湾。
对，中国一直在霸凌台湾，以及就是霸凌其他就是做了中国政府不喜欢做的事情的国家。那有些时候，其实美国的一些就是州啊或者是什么的，其实也有感受到就是被中国所威胁、所霸凌。那司徒文先生觉得这些都应该要停下来了，因为就是你不是靠就是武力来赢取一个朋友。那台湾所做的目前应该是更积极，而且去推销他自己，然后去拓展更多就是民主国家的好邦交好关系的朋友。那他觉得说台湾应该要多多提升就是他的防御的部分，那就是也算是未雨绸缪的
强化台湾的国防。
是
OK。
Did I answer your question?
Yeah, sure. Very good. Thank you.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah.
感谢你请我来。
你对台湾很重要，台湾人对台湾人对自己的认识，然后增加自信这个事情很重要。谢谢你。
感谢你。
呀，好，那我们也谢谢安安。
谢谢。
好，
感谢你小姐，你很好，你的技术是一个奇迹。
OK， 好，那我们今天因为时间的关系，非常感谢司徒文先生，也谢谢安安做翻译我们就进行到这边。好，我们明天同一时间再见，拜拜，拜拜，拜拜，谢谢，谢谢，谢谢，谢谢。